Okay, let's get right into it. What we're looking at right now is a global crisis that's unfolding fast. A huge military strike has just hit Iran, and honestly, things are escalating by the hour. Friends, I've made a lot of videos about wars, but this has never felt so personal. And for me, this hits, well, incredibly close to home. You see, up until just yesterday morning, I was actually in Dubai with my family, right there on the edge of the conflict zone, just as all of this started to kick off. So, one minute, it's just a normal morning on a family trip. The next, it was just complete and utter chaos. From where we were, we could actually see an explosion and a fire near our hotel. We were so lucky. Our flight was early in the morning, and we got out just in time. It wasn't until we landed hours later that we started to see the full picture. News was breaking. Dubai airport evacuated, filled with smoke. Drones being intercepted right near the Burj Khalifa. Missile debris literally falling on the Burj Al Arab. It was just shocking. And this is so personal because some of my family, they had later flights that got canceled. They're still stuck there, right now, in the middle of all this. So the big question is, why? Why is all of this happening? Well, it turns out this is all part of a full-scale military operation, and it has a code name, Operation Epic Fury. That's right, the United States and Israel have launched a massive military attack on Iran. And according to U.S. officials, this isn't just a one-off strike. No, this is a multi-day campaign. Their goal? To destroy Iran's missile industry, quote, to the ground. Right now, bombs are falling across the entire country, hitting Tehran, Isfahan, all the major cities. And then came the most shocking news of all. Iranian state TV has confirmed something that seemed unthinkable. The supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, has been killed. A strike hit his compound while he was in his office, and reports are saying his daughter, his son-in-law, and even his granddaughter were killed alongside him. So you can imagine Iran's response was immediate. And it was overwhelming. They launched their own counteroffensive, and they're calling it Operation True Promised 4. And when I say overwhelming, I mean it. The scale of this retaliation is just staggering. Just look at this number. According to official sources, Iran fired more than 1,100 missiles at the UAE alone. Now, thankfully, the UAE's air defenses managed to intercept most of them, but the sheer volume, the number of missiles in the air, that's completely unprecedented. And they didn't stop with the UAE, not even close. The scope of Iran's response was massive. They claim they attacked 27 different American military bases all across the Middle East. We're already seeing footage of smoke rising from the Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, and there's confirmation of a direct hit on the U.S. Navy's 5th Fleet headquarters in Bahrain. And this is where it gets really frightening, especially for so many of us. We're talking about a huge human cost. Over 1 crore, that's more than 10 million Indians live and work in these Gulf countries. These aren't just names on a map for us, right? These are the homes of our friends, our relatives, and right now, every single one of them is caught in the crossfire. Which is why this is quickly turning into what experts are calling an absolute nightmare scenario, especially for India. Think about it. A full-blown war in this region has devastating economic consequences for us. Over half of India's crude oil comes through the Strait of Hormuz. And now, reports are coming in that Iran plans to shut down that critical shipping lane. If they do that, well, India's oil supply gets crippled. And you know what that means. Petrol prices will skyrocket. We'll see massive inflation, and the rupee will be under severe pressure. But you know, beyond all the strategy and economics, there's the human tragedy. And it's just heartbreaking. In the city of Minab in Iran, a girls' primary school was bombed. It happened during school hours. At least 100 children, 100 kids, are reported to have been killed. And then you see this. The irony here is just profound. Shortly after the news broke about the school bombing, an official Israeli government account tweeted this: Israel has the right to defend itself. Now remember, this statement is being made about a conflict that by all accounts was started by the U.S. and Israeli strike in the first place. So how on earth did we get to this point? Let's back up and trace the path that led us straight into this war. Okay, so the fuse was really lit back in late 2025. Iran's economy collapsed, and that sparked the biggest protests in the country's history. The government's crackdown was brutal. Reports say over 30,000 people were killed. But even with all that, there was a glimmer of hope. Just last month, in February, an Omani minister said a peace deal was, quote, within reach. And then, the very next day, the bombs started falling. And here's the kicker. According to the Washington Post, this attack wasn't spontaneous. It had been planned for months. Now, if this all sounds a little familiar, well, it should. Think back to 2003 and the Iraq War. What was the justification then? To remove a dictator, Saddam Hussein, and bring peace and democracy. And what was the result? A 20-year war, massive regional instability, and the rise of new terror groups. The reasoning we're hearing today for attacking Iran, it's eerily similar. And that really brings us to the central question hanging over this whole crisis. Are we just watching a vicious cycle play out all over again? I mean, on the surface, removing a dictator sounds like a good thing, right? But history gives us a pretty stark warning. Look at Saddam Hussein in Iraq. Look at Muammar Gaddafi in Libya. Both were absolutely brutal leaders. But when foreign powers stepped in to remove them, the result wasn't peace. Far from it. For the ordinary people living there, life became so much worse. So that leaves us with this one final, really critical question. As we watch this war unfold, we have to ask ourselves, does this kind of foreign intervention ever actually lead to peace and democracy? Or is it just doomed to repeat the mistakes of the past, creating a dangerous power vacuum that only unleashes even more suffering on the very people it claims to help?